And suddenly we hit what is known as the coldest place on Earth. And for us that night it was minus 59. And when you get out of the trucks in that temperature, the anoraks that you wear, which are very much like ski jackets, you could hear them crunch tight as the fabric completely changed. And it was pretty extraordinary to be there.
It's actually 58, minus 58 now, which I think is pretty cold. We're going to leave in about an hour, have a bit of boil-in-a-bag breakfast, and then head off to a place called Susan, which is about 250 kilometres. And then we've got to make some big decisions about where we go from there.
Incredibly cold.
Does it feel it?
It definitely feels cold.
It does feel cold. It's a good 10 degrees colder than it has been for the last 2-3 days. And minus 40 now seems so warm.
Tropical.
I mean, you take your gloves off for 20 seconds and we're all fighting to get our glove back on again.
If you got stuck out here for the middle of the night and had to spend the night out here, you would not survive. You'd be dead by morning.
We will, wouldn't you?
Mixed reactions this morning. Unfortunately, during the evening, I was woken up this morning to say that L2 wasn't running. Basically, what had happened was, I don't know whether you've seen, some mornings with the exhaust, it builds a stalactite or a stalagmite up from the ground, and because of the extreme temperature we had last night, below minus 55, it completely engulfed the end of the exhaust system and stopped the engine by killing the passage of exhaust gas. We couldn't select gear, we couldn't turn the steering wheel. Everything was just completely frozen up solid. Just trying to warm it up again to breathe some life back into it. I just hope that it hasn't done any long-term damage to anything. Picture.
And by this time I was getting into a lot of problems because the cars had done so well up to now that people presumed we could take them on the non-roads. But I was absolutely convinced that we were going to have to send back these saloon cars, the Mondeos, to America. So it was coming to the end of the road. And the decision I was going to move it on was mixed with these beautiful landscapes that we crossed as we were going along the last of the kind of major highways into Suzuman.
It's not an ideal. It is. You've got to come down to the basic fact that it is an expedition. It is not. It's not something where you've got free time off and having fun. You drink, you sleep, and you drive. After that, forget it. You don't have them. You don't have those rights.
You can't turn into a robot for 3 months. I mean, you can't suddenly turn into...
And by now the team was becoming very, very, very agitated. They'd been really escorted all the way on their expedition and didn't feel they were on one. And tempers were really starting to get on top of everybody. And so it was really the huge frustration, and I brought together a big 4-hour meeting so that everyone could at least say what they wanted to say without me trying to get involved in it.
No, but you're still saying you want to do the objective your way. We're not under orders.
No, you're not under orders, but we are relying entirely on the Russians, and that is why we are basically baggage up until now. You've got to accept that. You know, we are totally reliant on these people. The amount of organisation and work that goes on ahead, we have no idea.
You're saying there's an expedition, we have orders, and we have to follow those orders.
No, there's an expedition with an objective.
But you're saying the objective is all.
It is all.
It's not. We're not talking about the Russians now. We're talking about individuals and how each person feels. If they feel shattered, whether they feel they need half an hour, whether they're not just being a pain and saying, I want to stay in bed, but they need that half hour. Why? If that's what they feel, and they... No, because some of you are driving more or less than others. And why should that person get sick because of you?
We're here for 100 days, and I think that's what the Ural truck drivers should realize. That's what the other people here should realize, that there's a continuation of this entire project, that if we keep going the way we're going, there's huge implications to physical deprivation, sleep, a lot of those
things. It's up to us to put it to them as a group.
The decision that I've had to make now is what cars to take forward and what cars to stay back. I think that almost certainly we'll now be sending both Mondeos down to Magadan. And what I'd like to do is throw it open to any thoughts that people have.
In a sense, we've been travelling almost as 2 convoys, haven't we? I mean, there's been us and the Russians, and I think there's 4 cars now left. And we've got to try and travel as one.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true.
With any Arctic expedition, anything that lasts for this length of time, the most important thing, like we take care of the vehicles, which I think is being done extraordinarily well, the people need to be refueled. That happens through sleep, happens through food. Those two things, I believe, are not being taken care of well enough.
Но дело в том, что у нас таких проблем не существует.
We don't have this problem.
Потому что
Because
мы более привычны к таким
we are
трудным
used to these conditions.
Richard's cracking up. I wasn't aware of it until he told me, but he's that far. Because everything, the whole system, we don't understand, we don't see it, and it's a lot bigger than I appreciated. I mean, what I'm saying is mentally, it's getting to him, and we've got a long time to go.
But he's got decisions that we just have no...
I know, Dale.
No idea.
It's just things within inside the context of what happens can be altered to help the human element in this thing, and that's why people are having challenging mental situations, because they aren't well rested, they're not fed consistently, and those things can be changed.
Obviously it does no one any good if the chief goes down. I think one of the main problems is having had this discussion, everyone from your side you're not that happy with certain aspects. Let's get happy and start working with people properly. That surely will take the pressure off him. But if the column goes smoothly, if we make the miles, if people in the evening are happy faced and there's not too much friction between the Russian side and our side, that will help immensely. I can't see a problem.
One of the big problems on this kind of project is the leader, and one or two people very close to him, knows that decisions have been made 3, 4, 5 days back, but many of the people on it are still resisting those decisions. We were trying to nurse the Mondeos on for the last bit of the tarmac road.
Dead.
And the mechanics were convinced that if they could just do it, maybe I'd let it keep on going. And then the car stopped by itself, so instead of me having to make a decision about a good car, it just wouldn't go any further.
Just doesn't want to know anymore.
And here we are on Semchen, the very end of the tarmac road. And they got the car going again, but in a way, this for Paul, the Ford mechanic, was the worst part of the trip.
Obviously to drive a car from London to New York, Overland, would be a great personal and it was a great thing to do. It's an expedition. You know, I mean, you look at people that have done expeditions before, and you admire what they've done, their courage, and the things that they've actually been through. We've got to the stage now where the elements have actually beaten us. I can't. There's questions that I physically cannot answer. I've never experienced minus 55 and below. It does things to men and machines that I can't answer.
The reality is you're about to do what you said you were going to do. You're taking a bunch of Mavericks and you're going to get them every bit as far as you can. From an expedition point of view, when you first heard of the project, which was you're going to drive from London to Oymyakon and then from Fairbanks down, I think you still will.